Hey guys, welcome back to another Collectible Cartel video. Unfortunately, I missed recording the intro to this one, so I apologize for that. I'm still new to this YouTube stuff. But this is a MEO Meta Discussion chat we had with Christian Hasbani. He was kind enough to join us. He finished 9th at the OCIC, 17th at the EUIC, top 8 in Oceania, and finished 34th at the recent 2019 World Championships. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the video. So we come into MEO. Normally, well, last year's MEO was like, okay, first big event for a new set, right? We don't have that this time. We have, I guess, the reaction to like the initial take on the meta. Do you think the initial take on the meta was correct? Is there adjustments to be made?
I think there are adjustments being made because there's a few things that came out of DC Open that were quite interesting. I can't overlook Xander Perez Nagandel
Binder
checkmate
drop
deck.
deck dot deck.
Yeah, I think there's better ways to build it, but I think it took full advantage of the fact of an unaware meta.
Yeah,
If that deck can be refined to be a bit more consistent, not have to rely on things like Stevens, it can be really hard to beat.
yeah,
And I think when you're looking at MEO, you have a lot of new players coming in who aren't exactly aware about how to deal with a deck like that, and that's why a deck like that might not be a bad play for MEO.
yeah.
And there's other things as well. I hate to say it, but I chose the wrong Malamar deck for Worlds. I think Alternate Crosma is the most playable one out of the three variants.
Yep.
Just having sheer power is just so good against things like Reshi, Guardi, Pikarom. It can just sack through too easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other things to look through that we didn't expect. Where obviously, I just like wrote a list down of these tier lists, and I wrote these bunch of rogue decks down here. PM is a bit of a weird one. I think that's the least consistent of the rogues I've seen
Yeah.
because it's so easy to counter in an aware meta.
Yeah. And the
Um,
ability to chain the Behemoths on just inherently is difficult enough with like less consistency and search in the format.
of course, and item lock isn't as powerful now as it may have been when Seismitoad was a thing.
First
Um,
term item lock, it's not like that with Behemoth, really, is it?
Exactly. People set up. I mean, I've been testing a lot of ability Reshi's art, and I came against Behemoth 3 times. 2 times I just bricked. The second time I just won the prize race
Yeah.
just by simply using the one prizes and Heatran.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
fine.
yeah. You just like one shot with Heatran, right? So.
Yeah, yeah,
Alright.
yeah. So, and other thing that one more deck I want to talk about is Rowlet Eggs. That's a really interesting deck. Um, Araquanid's too stupidly strong of a card, to be honest.
Yeah.
The fact it's Bronzong, but for all your Pokemon with Grass Energy on it,
Yeah.
which is yeah, that's quite a scary deck, especially with such healing. I can see it just beating things like Guardi, potentially even Pika if it can string its healing along.
Yeah.
So that's an unexpected one people need to kind of keep an eye on.
Okay. Okay. So, do you? Okay. So we have obviously Henry win worlds with Mew.
Yeah.
Is that the deck you think everyone jumps on for MEO, or do you think everyone's like, oh nah, we'll just play the hard like, is there if there is a hard counter, do we look to counter Mew? Is that what we're looking to counter, or are we just looking to play something consistent, or are we actually trying to just pick the meta and pick any meta, or are you better off picking consistency over that?
Well, it depends on the type of player, right? Because Mewtwo is a quite complex deck, I think.
Yeah.
Takes quite a skillful player to, skillfully, and that's why someone like Henry was so easily able to take that to the top. But I think a lot of people are looking at ways to beat it. I think there are good decks, like such as Ability Reshi, which I think is actually favored against Mewtwo.
Yep.
Pika played well, can have a good matchup against Mewtwo, especially if they charge up to Zero Aura, so that Tag Purge isn't as strong.
Yep.
Obviously Persephone is just a stupid deck where you can just sack Mewtwo out of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry posted a bunch of tweets about being bland
Yeah.
at a
Yeah.
challenge recently.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
Um,
that thing. I saw that LC. It was like 3 Blounds or something in the top 8.
Yeah, I just think Mewtwo has a bit of a target on its back right now. It's still a fantastic deck, and it's not a terrible play, but I think a lot of people are aware about how to play it, and unless people are taking something new into the deck, I think people are aware of what it has now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The cat's out of the bag. It's like it won worlds and it's just got the biggest target on it.
Yeah.
Um, in previous formats, we've seen like single prize attacker decks be quite good, like Giratina, Malamar, for example. Um, do you think, ironically, that Blounds is kind of the single prize attacker deck now, just because it's not a tag team, so it gives up the one less and trades super effectively?
Yeah, I think, well, there's two decks, right? I think there's three decks that are like the one prize deck. Blound's probably being technically one of them,
Yeah,
just because it inherently obviously gives up less prizes, but I think it just has such raw power. Obviously, having the like Naganadell's attack on three prizes, 160, that's incredible. Access to things like Turtonator if you really want to, as like a secondary Blound. Um, and then you have Heatran, but yeah, and then I think the second one prize deck, I mentioned a lot this game already, but Ability Reshi has the potential to be a one prizer deck just
yeah,
because you have, Turtonator, you can tech Tapu Fini. I know Joe Bernard did that, and I think that's great against Blounds. I think it puts into your favor, actually,
yeah,
especially if you don't drop a Reshi at any point in the game.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and then obviously things like the Victini, I think that's like the most fantastic addition. Not needing Fire Crystal just seems so insane to me because of that one card. Um,
And then still
yeah,
hit stupid numbers on top of it. It's like, oh, I played multiple fire crystals and killed you.
yeah, and it's just like, oh, I can just late game hit 280.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
And obviously the third one is Malamar. Malamar's probably the most case of a one prize deck. It has so many inherent issues right now, and probably I wouldn't recommend picking it up to a lot of players. But if you really like it, sure, go for it. But that's probably the most one prize deck in like
yeah,
just being able to be like, I just drop Giratina turn after turn,
yeah,
Mimikyu, Esper, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and like I guess like a little bonus is it was really frustrating because before Worlds we thought we found the most amazing one prize deck for Worlds that would just beat Rashi, beat Pika, and that was obviously Spiritomb with Ultra Beast.
yeah.
Um, Inherently fantastic deck, but it can't beat Mewtwo and it can't beat Melee tags just because yeah, they're really annoying to deal with, and you can't deal with Espeon Deoxys. That's just too much of a threat.
Yeah, yeah, just dropping all the damage and just like basically killing your board.
Yeah, essentially, Spiritomb can't be charged up, so
Yeah.
it's a risk.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So if you're not actually going to MEO yourself, are you?
No, unfortunately not.
If you were to go to MEO, what are you taking? What deck outside of maybe your baby and Malamar, which you
Yeah,
actually don't think, but what would you take?
honestly, I would 100% take Ability Reshi at this point. I
Yeah,
think it's so inherently strong. You can just steal games, and it's not a hard deck to play in a base level.
yeah,
Um, I think it's like a low flooring but a high ceiling.
yeah. Do you think it was unlucky not to win Worlds? Like obviously we see Tor draw badly and like have unlucky discards and stuff in top four. Do you think that is the deck that you probably would have expected to win Worlds, seeing that it made top eight? Is that what you expected to get there?
Honestly, if he did play the Feeny and maybe some other consistency cards, I guess Scoop Up like is good and all, but if he played some other consistency cards, he might have been able to take it all.
Yeah,
Just because I said one Feeny in that matchup against Blounds puts it quite, I think it increased by 5-10% into your favor.
yeah, which is massive. Okay, so if we move away from decks and we go into techs for the weekend, what is Finny your biggest tech for the weekend? Is that the thing that should be placed in every deck if you can fit it?
I think it only goes in certain decks. Obviously decks that play 3 to 4 communication. If you're
Yeah,
not playing communication, you can't ever play it. Um, But yeah, I think it's good in Reshi. I don't see it necessary in Pika because I think Pika does beat Blounds already.
yeah,
Um, Mew Mewtwo, I think Mew Mewtwo also beats Blounds if it plays cleverly. Obviously, the cross division is such a huge swing card, allows you to skip Beast Ring,
yeah,
especially if you combine it with other things, such as like the use of the Mew, obviously attacking with 120 on, Tag Purge or Turbo Strike, sorry.
Yeah.
Um, and then do into a cross division, which can just skip it. But yeah, I think Feenies only really need to tech in one or two decks, really.
Okay.
There are other tech options for decks. I know Mewtwo can have a few things that haven't been mentioned before. I actually came up against something on PCGO that was quite interesting. This guy played Blaziken GX, and against he couldn't get his Lardy out, but he started Blaziken, and he used the GX attack to remove 2 energy, which prevents me from going for the big double blaze or a tornado attack, and that just set me back pretty far
Yeah.
behind.
So it kind of buys him a turn in the same way.
And also does 210 damage with 3 fire by discarding 2. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting tech to look at. What other decks have cool techs? I really thought of many techs. I think MEO is not the event where you're bringing many techs in the sense. I think you just want to play something as consistent as possible. Also something that just is inherently powerful and can at least have a 50-50 or 40-60 at worst with most decks in the meta. So yeah, I think Feeny is really the main one that everyone's talking about.
Okay. So the safe player's abilities are, or the most consistent kind of player's abilities are. We'll get some few things from chat. So if chat want to ask anything, feel free. This is your chance. Get involved, chat. Someone's asked about Dark Box. Where do you think Dark Box fits in the meta, if at all?
So Dark Box beats Guardian. I'll say that. It's just too slow, which is the issue. I really like Dark Box. I think it's a fun deck. It has a lot of really cool interactions. Like Tyranitar Sableye GX attack is crazy cool. But yeah, inherently it's just too slow right now. Reshi beats it. Pika probably beats it. Mewtwo has a decent matchup to it as well. And yeah, as I said, even the Naga Checkmate one just has the Aerodactyl just to finish the game after a Stinger GX. Like, there's just a lot of things that can just beat it.
Okay. We have one from chat. Maddie B is asking, is there any text for the Zard Mirror? If that's what we expect to see a lot of in MEO, is there anything you can tech for the Mirror?
In terms of the Mirror, oh, that's a really good one.
Chat's just lolling with Go First.
Yeah. Go First actually isn't just the only tech. Obviously, there's things you can do like spread your energy to allow you to allow them not to target things down. So you can go for a big Heatran and then into the Fictini or the Turtonator.
Yeah.
Don't play Zard down at any point. Unless they have Zard down. Like that's just a...
Oh. We lost Christian. Oh, we lost him. Did we lose him? Alright. Yep, there we go, There we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so don't play Zard down the Mirror. I think that's just a big mistake, unless they're obviously just bricking and you can just pressure them off the bat.
Yeah.
Focus on your Turtonator, your Heatran, get Ninetales down instantly, because that's the big card. You want to knock down, if you're going first, you want to knock out their Vulpix straight away.
Yeah.
Because that puts in your favor. You decide on the attackers.
Yeah, you have all the control then.
Yeah. There's no real tech for the Mirror. It's just simply, as I said, going first is such a huge advantage. Like, the chat is completely right about that.
Yeah, just going first, right?
But it's not unwinnable if you kind of play it clever. As I said, spread your energies out, which helps you go for a big Turtonator or Heatran. And yeah, the Ninetales, get 2 Vulpix down if you can. Which is a big stretch because you only have 3 or 4 Calm in the deck.
Yeah, so you just have to either inherently draw them.
Yeah.
Or be out that.
Use your Dedenates.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Alright, for sure. I got another question from chat. Can Guardian deal with Zard at all?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like you just hit through Guardian and it's just kind of like, I think it's just one of those matchups where it's just, you just take the L into Ability Zard.
Yeah, Ability Zard can just, like, double blaze into a Tornado and that's the game.
Yeah, Which is kind of what I did against Dark Box tonight in my match earlier. It's like a double blaze into, like, a 9 energy Turtonator and it was like, well, that's it.
Yeah, I watched that game and I was like, does he know if he has game in hand? Like, this.
Yeah, I was like, I have so much energy. I was like, I just drew everything. It was disgusting. Not
Yeah,
gonna
I,
lie.
I hype up this deck a lot, but I think it speaks for itself.
Oh, like I played it like last week on stream, and it's like I lose one match on stream all night. Like it's just you just I know chat and stuff are telling me that they like brick with it, but I haven't had that experience yet. It just disgustingly good.
Yeah, I generally just like don't. I found the deck bricks maybe like 1 in 5, 1 in 6, and that's okay. I've always had like the general guide. If I'm bricking 1 out of 3 games, I can at least win 2 out of 3 of those, and that's kind of the guideline.
Yeah, and then that's all you need, right? Like you go, that gets you through Swiss, and then you worry about cut after that.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to mention any other points you wanted to bring up for MEO?
Um, yeah, I think there's a few. What was I mentioning here? Um, I just see someone in the chat that said, "What are the top decks for me?"
Yeah. Well, we kind of
I think
went
that's
through
a
that. So it's like Ability Zard, Mewtwo, Pikarom,
yeah,
Blounce, kind
and
of the top
Blends.
four.
Those are the top 4 for sure.
Yeah. So everything you saw do well at Worlds is kind of what you expect to see again, right?
For sure. I mean, there might be a few surprises. I know some people might have wacky rogue decks like Mewtwo Blastoise, like Jack Underwood.
Oh yeah, Jack's deck. I was like, what is this? But when you
It's
think
a,
about it, like it's actually kind of like smart to play like the water side of it into like a fire meta.
I think it's interesting because he told me how many wins he stole with just Keldeo alone.
Yeah.
And the fact he actually can't lose to Keldeo itself because he can use Sonic Edge, which
Yeah.
goes through Keldeo.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like I'm winning the mirror with the Keldeo.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting deck. Has inherent inconsistency, obviously. It's a stage 2 deck.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously Crash Awake is a fantastic card, and that carries him quite a lot
Yeah.
in that sense.
Grab whatever you want.
Yeah, instant like Ray Candy Blastoise.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It pretty much just comes down to turn 1. Like, can you get two or three Squirtles down or something? And that's a lot of it.
Yeah. It's just the same as it was with any stage 2 deck. It's like, how many stage 1s can I get down turn 1?
Yeah, pretty much.
But back to the other points. Did you have other points that you wanted to bring up and discuss about MEO before that?
I'm just looking into a few. Okay, so there's a few rogue decks I think people need to watch out for. Obviously, Keldeo Bronzong Stall. That's a very interesting one.
Yeah.
The only issue for that is that if Keldeo Bronzong can knock out the Turtonator, I think Reshi cannot win that matchup. Unless obviously the prizes are quite low down.
Yeah, because they obviously don't play any like Pokemon Recovery, or no one really plays Pokemon Recovery anymore after Stretch is gone. So
Yeah, exactly. So if you're playing against that deck, just watch out. Obviously, if they go second, they can evolve Bronzong turn 1, which is a huge issue.
yeah,
Other things, obviously, Alex Shemansky, fantastic player, played Gengar, Mimikyu, Omastar.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
It's an interesting deck because it does beat things like, it doesn't really beat Guard. Oh, it does beat Guardian. It has Lysander Labs, so it can beat Guardian. It can beat Green's Reshi if things are a bit sketch, because obviously Poltergeist would be very charged up against
Yeah,
Green's Reshi.
yeah, against Green's Reggie for sure.
So yeah, just be aware if you are playing that deck, just dump your items straight away. It's just
Yeah, you just have to burn
it's
everything.
scary. It's very scary. But yeah, if you're Green's Reshi, just dump your items. Don't bench more than 2 things, or 1 thing on the bench and 1 thing active. Ability Reshi, same thing. That's how you win that matchup.
Yeah, I think Ability Reshi inherently has an easier time just dumping all your items. Like I never feel playing Ability Reshi. I want anything else except Welder and Fire Energy in my hand. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I just want fire.
Yeah, obviously like bird control as well. I think
Yeah.
that's something isn't talked about enough. So that's a really good deck right now. I think obviously it doesn't peak until after MEO. So I guess we have post MEO content to say that when it gets Jesse and James, that's when the deck gets incredible.
Yeah.
But it's still
levels of control.
it's still good. I think as long as it doesn't hit, Deoxy's Espeon, then it's pretty good against a lot of decks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the other thing to watch out for. So those are kind of like the weird rogues people need to think about.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. We've had a really good discussion about MEO. So your top four, if you are heading to MEO, is Blounds. Abilities are Mewtwo and Pikarom.
Yep,
They are your
exactly.
big four. Rogues to look out for Pidgeotto,
Yep,
Keldeo Bronzong Stall,
yep,
Gengar Mimikyu Omastar.
yep. And the Naga checkmate deck.
Yeah, and the Naga Checkmate, so you guys can check that list out. That one, the DC Open, piloted by Xander Pero. So if you want to go check that out, you can find that on Limitless as always, where you can find all your resources for decks that do well at big events. I want to thank you very much for joining me, Christian. Is there any shout outs you want to give before you head off?
Just a shout out to my team, New South Wales team, Never Lucky fam. So Brent Tonneson, Corey Monroe, Ying, Jack Miller. Even though he's on New South Wales, he's still part of that. And Jeremy Lim, many other guys, and obviously to everyone else in Australia. Just big shout out to them.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, mate. Good luck for the season. And hopefully we'll chat to you later on when you do well at another big event.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
And cheers, man. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Yeah.